Clawdbot.
Clawdbot is...
Talk about Clawdbot.
Clawdbot. This is Clawdbot.
Clawdbot, the AI that claims to actually do stuff for you. It racked up 100,000 GitHub stars overnight, had its name misused in a $16 million crypto scam, and got rebranded twice before most of us finished breakfast. With the internet losing its mind over this cute lobster and calling it the next revolution in AI automation, I figured to give it a try and see if the hype is real. And spoiler, 99.9% of people should stay the hell away from it. What I found is part incredible, part terrifying, and definitely not what the AI bros are saying. So for anyone dealing with FOMO about missing out on Clawdbot, buckle up, because what's coming next will make you very glad you never touched it. First, what exactly is Clawdbot? Also known as Moltbot, and at the time of this video, now it's called OpenClaw. Imagine ChatGPT with hands. That's Clawdbot. Basically, it's a self-hosted, always-on AI agent that runs on your own device, remembers past interactions, and autonomously uses your tools and accounts to get digital work done for you. Didn't catch all that? Let me explain. Imagine asking Siri something like, hey, clear my inbox while I'm at the gym. And it actually does it. It reads your emails, summarizes them, drafts replies, and pings you if something is urgent. Well, that's exactly what Clawdbot can do. It can run commands, book flights, write code, and control your lights. It's like having a super eager AI intern, one that runs locally on your computer, can access your hard drive, and does whatever the AI thinks you want. So Clawdbot can definitely do some interesting things, but all the hype has created some massive confusion. People are saying it's the end of ChatGPT, and others are comparing it to no-code automation tools like N8N and Make. Let's clear both of these up quickly. Clawdbot actually uses AIs like ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini to process information and make decisions. It's basically a wrapper for an AI agent that lives on your computer. So no, it's not replacing these tools. It leverages them to do things they normally can't do on your local machine. And there are very good reasons why these tools have restrictions, which we'll get to in a bit. Now the other claim, is Clawdbot the Make.com or N8N killer? No, it's apples and oranges. They solve different problems and work very differently. Make and N8N are workflow tools built for predictability. You define exact triggers, exact steps, exact outcomes. If something breaks, you know where it broke, why it broke, and what to fix. They're designed for reliability, repeatability, business workflows, teams, and production systems. Clawdbot is the opposite by design. It's an autonomous agent, not a workflow engine. You don't tell it how to do things step by step. You tell it what you want and it decides how to get there. That gives it flexibility, but it also removes the guardrails. That's why Clawdbot doesn't replace Make or N8N. They solve different problems. In practice, they can actually complement each other. Clawdbot for ambiguous, exploratory, and open-ended tasks. Make or N8N for structured, high-stakes automation. Calling Clawdbot a replacement for these automation builders is like calling a chainsaw a replacement for a scalpel. Easier to use? Maybe after setup. Better for every use case? Absolutely not. But let me tell you why you absolutely shouldn't be using Clawdbot right now. Clawdbot isn't inherently bad, but it is high risk, high control. And for most people, those risks matter more than the features. Let's break it down. Clawdbot can run shell commands, read and write files, access credentials, send messages on your behalf. That means a misconfigured agent can behave just like malware. Not because it's malicious, but because it's autonomous and trusted. One bad instruction, one compromised plugin, one exposed control panel, that's all it takes. This isn't theoretical. Security researchers have already found thousands of exposed instances leaking API keys, logs, and credentials because people assumed local equals safe. Local does not mean secure, and here's why. Clawdbot can read files, write code, and send messages. That's exactly why a small misconfiguration can turn catastrophic. Researchers found between 900 and 1100 exposed Clawdbot instances on the public internet, leaking API keys, chat logs, and credentials. Not because of a zero-day exploit, but because people left their control panels wide open. Security researchers ran basic Shodan and census scans and uncovered hundreds of exposed control servers. Over 900 on census and over 1100 in live scans, many with weak or automatic authentication. The register put it bluntly, one sloppy proxy or open port can hand attackers the keys to your entire machine. Cisco then analyzed the Clawdbot skills marketplace and found that a staggering 26 96% of community skills contain vulnerabilities, including top-ranked skills that silently exfiltrated data. Recent scans show that the problem isn't shrinking. More than 4,500 setups are still exposed today. This tells you something important. Clawdbot needs broad permissions to be useful. That's the trade-off. But broad permissions means small mistakes lead to a large blast radius. One leaked key equals full system access. One bad plugin equals silent data exfiltration. There are no strict permission controls, no task isolation, and no built-in safety guidelines. And because it's free and open source, there's nobody to blame but yourself. You are your own security team now. If that sentence makes you uncomfortable, that's the point. But security isn't your only responsibility, so is privacy. You might be thinking, but isn't Clawdbot better for privacy because it runs locally? Yes, it runs locally. Yes, your data doesn't automatically go to a SaaS vendor. But privacy here is conditional, not guaranteed. If your server is exposed, if your logs are readable, if your messaging bridge is misconfigured, your private agent becomes a liability. Clawdbot gives you control. It does not give you safety. Those are different things, and you need to have the technical skills to close those vulnerabilities. I can't stress this enough, so listen closely. This is not a Chrome extension you install and forget. You need to run commands, install Node.js, have Git, and possibly Docker or WSL2. You'll generate API keys for Anthropic or OpenAI, pair messaging apps, and debug YAML files when something breaks. If you have no idea what I just said, this is absolutely not for you. There's no pretty graphical interface, and since this is free and open source software, there's definitely no support hotline. And speaking of free, that's not really true either. The software is free, but as I mentioned, it requires access to paid APIs like GPT and Claude. This means it's always running and streaming your conversation history into the model. Pricing guides show that complex tasks and persistent memory can burn $10 to $25 a day in API fees, and that's on the low end. In fact, there are posts all over X showing people spending hundreds per day. And cheaper models often fail. People who tried to save money by using GPT 3.5 or smaller models reported constant confusion, forcing them to go back to expensive ones. Add in the cost of the hardware and your free AI intern can end up costing more than a human assistant. And about those Mac minis everyone says you need, you don't. The official documentation says Clawdbot runs on as little as 1 GB of RAM and a single CPU core. You can run it on a Raspberry Pi or a $5 per month cloud server. Most people close to the project estimate the Mac Mini craze was 70% FOMO and 30% actual advantage. Even the creator told people to stop buying new hardware. And that wasn't the creator's only warning. Clawdbot's creator has openly acknowledged the security issues, calling it a hobby project and advised that most people shouldn't install it. Early adopters describe Clawdbot as messy and vibe-coded. Config files are duplicated, the CLI is confusing, and no one is auditing the code you install. Nothing is wrong with vibe coding, but it's a sign that this is still very much a prototype. Running it safely isn't just installing it once. You need to update it, patch vulnerabilities, and monitor logs. The reality is this just isn't a tool that's ready for any kind of serious business use yet, and to be fair, the founder never promised that it was. In fact, he never even claimed that Clawdbot can do absolutely anything you can dream of. That was the internet. I mean, the exaggerations for what it can do by the people trying to promote their AI course or services or whatever are downright hilarious. It can do this, it can do that, it can do everything. Inbox clearing, flight checking, code writing, smart light control. Hell, it probably folds your laundry if you ask nicely. At least that's what they make it sound like. Here's the catch. When something claims it can do anything, it's usually great at nothing. And Clawdbot can't even manage a clean install without you double checking every config file. It looks simple, just plug it in and let the AI magic happen. Behind that simplicity is a mess of misconfigurations, no support when things break, and the illusions of being hands-free until it inevitably isn't. So should you use Clawdbot? After playing with it and reading way too many security reports, here's my honest take. If you're a developer or a hobbyist who loves tinkering, has a spare machine, and enjoys living on the edge, Clawdbot is an incredible playground. Isolate it, use throwaway credentials, lock down your firewall, have fun. If you're privacy obsessed and need data to stay local, Clawdbot can deliver. But remember, local doesn't mean secure. You're responsible for security and updates. But if you're running a business or you're non-technical, I wouldn't deploy it yet. The setup and security burden outweigh the benefits. Tools like Make, N8N, or just Claude and ChatGPT will give you most of the automation you need with far less risk. And if your employees are installing this on work laptops, just stop. Unchecked AI with full access is like giving the intern the keys to your vault and saying good luck. Clawdbot feels like a glimpse of the future, an AI that doesn't just chat but acts. Right now, it's still a prototype with as much downside as upside. The security risks are real, costs can spiral, and the code is still rough around the edges. The rebrand chaos and mix up in a crypto scam were warnings, not of bad intent, but of what happens when hype outpaces governance. Yes, it's crossed over 145,000 GitHub stars. Yes, newer versions add better sandboxing. Momentum is there, but maturity is still catching up. The point is, before you buy into the idea of a digital employee that does everything for you, remember this: not everything viral is ready for prime time. Focus on the problems you're solving, choose proven tools that fit those problems, and don't be afraid to wait. Because the real advantage isn't chasing the shiny new thing. It's using technology deliberately to buy back your time without creating new risks along the way. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below if you've tried Clawdbot and if you think the hype is real. And if you found this video helpful, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more insights into tools that will actually help your business. In fact, if you want to automate your work in a safe and reliable way by chatting with AI, check out this video right here. I'll see you in there.